are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Voice cracked. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WheezyBlonde Interview. If you are watching as we are live, then hello. How you guys doing? You guys can ask your questions in the chat, and we will answer them accordingly. But if you're watching this after, then hello from the past. My name is Daniel Mena, and of course today I am joined by Miss WheezyBlonde. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I wish it was warmer outside. It's kind of crappy here in Indiana today, but other than that, I'm good.
I'm a basement dweller, so I wouldn't know.
Oh no, dark down there, no lights.
Yeah, no, I'm in I'm in a basement, but I'll go outside soon. So there's that. Again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to join me. You didn't have to do this, but I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me because I know that I'm like an hour late. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm usually very punctual, but things happen and you schedule stuff and it runs over. And so thanks for being cool about it.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I think I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Backlash. I was just going to talk about you, your career, all about you. But yeah. Backlash, that was crazy. That crowd was unreal.
I didn't anticipate that. Like, I didn't know what to expect from the French crowd because I don't know a lot about France. I was calling Lyon Lion. Like, I didn't even know how to pronounce the name of the damn city. So I think, honestly, while I love the Puerto Rican crowd last year, a run for their money because they didn't. I mean, this crowd did not stop.
Mm-hmm.
They were just kept going and going and going. Like, I really enjoyed everything about it. My God.
Yeah, it felt like the Bad Bunny entrance, but just like all night.
The whole night. Really,
which is nuts. What did you think of the card? Because, you know, a lot of people they're kind of torn between the 5-match card and then the 20-match card that AEW does. But then people are also, they don't like predictability as much. And I feel like last night's card was very predictable, but what do you think of it as a whole?
I went into it I really enjoyed it. I like a smaller card. I think it gives more time because every match last night was an absolute banger. I know people will probably bring up the women's tag match and some of the stuff that happened with there, but it was very solid matches, like very, very good wrestling. The Cody and AJ match is probably one of my favorite AJ matches in recent memory within the last 5 years. So I like the shorter version of it. I like that it was done within 3 hours. Like, the flow of it was great. Predictability, it's a Backlash. I mean, what do you want? I mean, right. When you've been watching this for a while, you can sometimes kind of see what's happening. But at the same time, we had unpredictable things happen. We had Tanga Loa.
Who?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Santi got a big, big quote tweet at him. I don't know if you saw it this morning, but there was a guy and
no, I've been busy. What
yes. So there was a guy and he said, I can't believe one of the biggest TikTok wrestling creators doesn't know who Tanga Loa is. And then Santi quote tweeted him, said ratio, all those things. So that was
fun. Well, I mean, I get the same thing from people because I didn't know who Tanga. I didn't know
me neither.
Was. Bite me. Like, there's a lot of stuff to know. There's a lot of stuff to know.
Yeah. No, I was watching that on my couch and I stood up right when he appeared and I was like, Jacob. And then, wait, who?
Well, then it got closer to him. Like, that's not Jacob. Like,
that's not Jacob.
Kind of a smaller man.
That is not a bearded man. What's going on here? Yeah, no, that's good. But now more so towards you. You went to a con recently, C2E2. Yeah. How was that?
Amazing. It was amazing. I am trying to go to more conventions. I've been a hairstylist for 11 years. I feel like I say that a ton, but I've been a hairstylist for 11 years. I genuinely do like talking to people and making connections with people. And so one of my biggest goals for this year was to get out from behind the screen and kind of go meet more people in person. C2E2, for those that don't know, is basically like a Comic-Con. And my perception of Comic-Con was always very much Star Wars, like very pop culture. And I found out that they had, wrestling people there for meet and greets. They had a wrestling table. They had a whole group of wrestling cosplayers. And so I went and I met a ton of people. I'll be back for sure, as long as it's not the same weekend as WrestleMania. I don't think it is, but I'll definitely be going back. I made so many good connections. There were so many more wrestling fans there than I anticipated because I cosplayed as Chelsea Green. And I'm just walking around the con on the day that I cosplayed, and you just hear someone from far away just be like, Chelsea Green. Like it would just an echo of it the whole time. It was amazing. It was so much fun. And even just meeting viewers, there were people that knew who I was the second day when I just looked more like myself. So there were a lot of people that didn't know it was me as Chelsea Green, which I thought was funny. I guess I clean up nice.
Yeah.
Any other time I'm just a bum behind the camera, I guess. So that's fine.
Yeah, no, the CM Punk jacket did it. That was kind of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no. Also Chelsea Green acknowledged you.
She did.
Holy crap.
So, I don't know how much you know about like what went down with that, but I wanted to go meet the Iconics. I met Cassie and Jessica at their table, and there was no line. I just walked right up. They stopped me before I even got up to the table, and Jessica pulled out her phone and was like, give me a, in her Australia, she's like, give me a pose. And I thought she was just taking a picture.
Right.
So I posed.
Yeah.
And then she said, she's like, give me her little and I thought, again, she was taking a picture. So I didn't actually do the whole motion of Chelsea's thing. I just kind of like stumbled for a minute and got myself in the shush position. But it was a video. And I didn't know that. I met them, got a picture with them. They were super sweet. I heard them as I was walking away. They were like, she was so nice. I love it. I was thank you. I got out to the main lobby to meet my friends, and I was helping them make TikToks. I opened my ex Twitter, and the first thing, I'm getting a ton of notifications because Chelsea was sent that video that I didn't know was a video and posted it. And I was like, I hadn't even posted anything of me being Chelsea yet. And she did it for me. And I just, she's always been very nice to me. So I appreciate her support. Number one fan. I will always be a fan of her from here on out. She's winning the NXT Women's Championship next week. So
she might win. I have her slated to win Queen of the Ring.
Absolutely. She should win everything. She should win all
everything.
Collect everything.
Yeah. No. So that's awesome. I think it's so cool how I mentioned this in my last interview with Andrew Baydala. I was saying that everyone is 5 people in the world away. And it's so interesting how that kind of works sometimes. So it's like, I know you know of Chelsea, or Chelsea knows of you. So it's like, oh, that's cool. And then she knows Triple H, and it's this whole thing. I just like, it's a mind.
Very, very true. And people, a lot of the time on the internet, people don't realize that you are within reach of people that seem like are out of reach. And sometimes when people are putting certain things out there, I wish more people would remember that, like, hey, someone is going to possibly see this, or they have seen this. So remember that, because you could really be shooting yourself in the foot from really great opportunities depending on what you're doing.
Yeah. So. I think a lot of the IWC doesn't realize that a lot of the wrestlers, they do see it. They're just not really allowed to interact.
They absolutely do.
Holy
trust.
Yeah. It's really cool. But yeah, more so back over towards your content. Let's start at the beginning. When did you start creating content?
When I actually started, I was just TikTok. I was making TikToks, and they were not wrestling related at all. I went viral for doing like it was like a lip sync video of Good For You, which was an Olivia Rodrigo song, and it transitioned into a Paramore song, and I dressed up really emo like I would have when I was like 15, and it blew up. And that was where it kind of started. And then I swerved making like relatable Midwest Indiana content. And I got a lot of followers from my immediate area in the Midwest. And I made one trending video that had to do with being a wrestling fan. And I think I had pulled out a couple of my action figures, and I was wearing a New Day shirt. And I just was like, surprise, I'm a wrestling fan. Because not a lot of people know or think or would think that I am. And that brought on like a whole onslaught of people just asking me wrestling questions like, oh, you're a wrestling fan. Who's your favorite wrestler? What's your wrestling Mount Rushmore, which you get asked 20 million times in the next 5 years? All of those kinds of things. So I started answering them. I found out that there were other people that were making wrestling TikToks as well, and opinion pieces. And I kind of got linked up with some of those people. And within, a year and a half, it just spiraled into going to my first SmackDown and meeting, other creators. And it's been crazy, but it started not being wrestling at all, not whatsoever. It was just a fun thing.
And then did you get any inspirations? Like you said, you linked up with a bunch of creators. Did you get inspired by any of them?
I did. I worked for, well, I technically kind of worked for, it started, I worked for a like a wrestling podcast, but that particular podcast, we just had too many like conflicting ideas, schedules. It wasn't really what I wanted to be doing, but I had looked at it as a foot in the door. So I
Mhm.
just started doing it anyway. And I got to a point with that where I was like, if I just focus on myself and my own content, I think I can grow. Like I work well on my own. I don't have to rely on other people. Like let me just go. And
Mhm.
so I left that podcast and I did. And literally the 6 months after that, it just was a steady incline of trial and error and getting noticed and doing things and meeting the right people.
Yeah, so that's I actually was going to ask that later on is kind of what did you learn? Every single time you post a video, you kind of learn something new and you're like, I didn't really like how I did that.
Mhm.
I'm in that experience right now. So what are a couple of those things that you've learned recently that you're like, I could do that better?
Definitely focusing less on, and I would say this for anybody, but focusing less on a lot of the negativity that gets pushed out, and just focusing more on the things that you like and your own relatability. I think for a while, and a lot of people are guilty of this, but I'd want to respond to every negative thing that was said or every negative thing that I disagree with. And a lot of the time when you engage with that, you're inviting more in because people are saying, oh, she reacts to that kind of thing. If I do it, then maybe she'll react to me doing this, and then you
Hmm.
just get a ton of it. So that is probably the biggest thing I've learned is doing less of that. Other than that, I'm willing to try anything, man. I'm willing to try anything.
That's it. That's why I started interviewing. Is because I'm like, you know what? Let me message somebody, and
Yeah,
it works.
I'm new at it too. I'm just learning too.
Right. Yeah. No, the wrestling circle right now is so small in terms of creators in the space. Like, you know, you're one of the biggest women content creators right now. You have Santi. You have all these
I'm still coming to
smaller.
grips with that being a thing. Like,
Right. Right. Yeah. No, it's weird because there are these gaming YouTube channels with millions, but then you look at the wrestling space and you're like, okay, you have Cultaholic. They kind of do opinion pieces, but not really. They more so do news.
yeah,
Same thing with Woke Culture. Same thing with all those European guys.
Wrestle Talk.
Right. Wrestle Talk.
Mhm.
And then now you have these discussion YouTubers that are popping up in the United States, and it's like, oh, these guys are interesting now.
Yeah, you've got, and from my perspective too, I think I'm trying to think of other women because Mini Portable is on the come up.
Right.
But you've
Denise.
got the big ones. You've got BDE, you've got Stash Club, you've got Santi, and those three, I would say, are the more what I lean towards because they're not just sitting down and doing news and
Hmm.
trying to be a news source. They're more just consuming, enjoying, and giving their takes on things and trying to find fun ways to make content about wrestling, which is definitely more of what I want to be doing.
Hmm.
But when you're looking at those three that exist too, I try to find, okay, well, what can I do that is going to set me apart from them? Like I take inspiration from everybody, and you absolutely should, but what can I do that is just a little bit different that I can give to my audience? So
Right.
those are the things that I try to focus on.
Now, what is your favorite thing about being a wrestling content creator?
Connecting with other like wrestling fans.
Mm,
That's probably my favorite thing
yeah.
because as a female wrestling fan in Northern Indiana, none of my friends know anything about wrestling. I've been in the beauty industry forever. There are very few people in my world that know anything about pro wrestling or like it or understand it. And so it gave me a platform and a space to be able to interact with other people that enjoy what I enjoy and understand it. Because it can be really isolating, enjoying something that a lot of other people don't. You
Hmm.
feel a little misunderstood when people, don't see eye to eye with you on things.
Right. Yeah. I think the best the best conversations that I've had with people so far is just kind of nerding out about certain storylines that's going on, nerding out about what we just watched, like we
Yes.
just did with Backlash. Um, the person that's closest to me, my wife, she watches. She's a casual fan,
Yeah.
and so I could be
My
like,
husband
"Babe,
too.
babe, look at this," and then she'll be like, "That's awesome." But-
Yeah, I'm the same way with my husband. My
yeah,
husband's not a huge wrestling fan at all, but he's gone to events with me, and it's the main thing that I have to talk about. So I'll even like start something off apologizing and being like, I know, but this thing happened and this is actually really cool. And I need you to understand like how cool this is. Like, and tell him. And
Yeah.
he's just like, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Oh, okay.
So why? Let me ask you this then: why doesn't your husband watch WWE?
That's a great question because I don't know that he has a concrete answer. He
Mm.
just doesn't find certain things as entertaining. Like
Yeah.
he likes going to the live shows and he likes the energy of the live shows, but a 3-hour Raw is a very long period of time for someone
Yeah.
to watch and with our schedules. So it's just not his thing. He's one of those for sure that has said, "Oh, you know, I used to watch back when Stone Cold and The Rock." And I'm like, you're literally what I hate, but that's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I'm a lot younger. I was watching with John Cena. Orange shirt
Are you
John
really?
Cena. Yeah, orange
How
shirt
old are you?
John Cena. 24.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was watching when I was a kid, it was orange shirt John Cena, the Nexus. I thought John Cena beating the Nexus was the best decision they've ever made. No one can change my opinion on that. I wanted to see Randy Orton versus John Cena a 21st time, even though we've seen it 20 times.
Oh God, did Santi just love you?
Oh yeah, he was like I just didn't think hard into it. You know, as a kid, you don't think hard into these things.
No, yeah.
So like if John Cena versus Randy Orton is on Raw and John Cena doesn't have the belt and he wins on Raw, I'm like, oh, then he's gonna win at the pay-per-view this Saturday. Nope, he's not gonna win at the pay-per-view. I didn't think hard into it, but now it's like you shouldn't be wrestling. The champion shouldn't be losing is a common thing that comes up in the IWC, and
It does. They find little, yeah, I don't know, like this
Whatever.
made this person look weak. They're taking a pin. He's taking too much offense. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, Carmelo Hayes, that was a stupid one. Everyone was like, Carmelo Hayes lost on his first debut on SmackDown. I'm like, he
okay.
faced Cody Rhodes. Come on, guys.
And look, I mean, and they had a hell of a match and a show of respect at the end. Like what? And I think I even mentioned during stream, like he took a beating, but I feel like it was pretty even keel.
Yeah.
So
Shut up. Exactly. Back to your YouTube. When did you start finding success?
With YouTube. Good question. So I started YouTube. I was very inconsistent with it and I still kind of am. I'm getting better. But YouTube is a different animal from TikTok, and the algorithm is a very different animal. And it took a minute to kind of learn how that works. But when TikTok got threatened to be shut down. Oh, I honestly don't even remember when it was. I think it was 21 or 22. Mm-hmm. It was before the new administration took over. I remember. I don't know if you're in the States or not. But they were trying to ban it, and that was all I had. And I wasn't really making any income from it. It was just something that I enjoyed to do. And I was like, okay, we need to move away from just TikTok. Like, I don't think this is sustainable. I could kind of tell at the time that it was changing, and it has. It's definitely turned into more of like a marketing kind of app now. And so I moved to Twitch. I moved to YouTube. The YouTube was kind of on the back burner from Twitch for a long time. And then I was watching, I can't remember. I did a random stream where I was watching I don't remember if it was the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions game. It was definitely a football game. And there is a big YouTube creator who's also a wrestling fan. He's an NFL guy. His name is, I always say his last name wrong. It's Tom Grossi. I think that's how you say it. Tom, I'm so sorry.
I've heard of him.
Okay, so Tom rated me on YouTube, which I didn't even know you could do. So suddenly I went from having a typical 20, 30 viewers on YouTube. I had like 1,000. And then he told his audience like, hey, she's a wrestling fan. And I held on to a lot of them because I stream and I'm a football fan. And then I don't know if that put me on an algorithm and I just kept gaining. And now I have more live stream viewers on YouTube than I do on Twitch. And so just kind of kept riding that way of like, okay, well, I have these viewers now. Let's start making more videos, and trying to figure out what works with that is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But mm-hmm. I really enjoyed the YouTube journey, and I want to keep growing it. Like, that's really where my passion kind of lies at the moment. I've definitely kind of fell off of TikTok. It's not really where my jam is. I kind of want to make more quality content, more long form, do more vlogs and interviews. And so my I guess, goal has kind of shifted.
And so you still do multi-streams on Twitch.
I do.
Yeah.
The minute that you were able to, because I actually think it was the weekend we were at TwitchCon, which was end of October. They finally made it where it was okay to multi-stream, because you technically weren't allowed to before. So if you were a partner and you were multi-streaming and they decided to just mess with you, they could just take your account away like that. So I never did it. The minute it was okay, I'm like, okay, we're doing YouTube. And I, besides Conman, I always forget about Conman, but Conman has been doing this a long time, and he has always streamed on YouTube. And so I jumped on it, and it was before a lot of other people. I'm so glad I did. It's so worth it.
Yeah, the discoverability on YouTube is so good. Like, it doesn't matter how many viewers you have. They'll be like, oh, she's into wrestling? Here you go. And then
Yeah, it'll put it on their main page. It'll
Right.
show it to them.
Right. Yeah, I think that's how I found you as well. So it's like
Literally.
exactly. So there's that. But the kind of biggest thing that happened to you within the past year, I think, is that you were on WWE. You were on Raw.
I was.
How was that?
It was surreal. Very, very surreal. Because I up until that point, I hadn't had anything really crazy big happen. And to be live on stream, and I think I was like the second or third clip that was shown. So they didn't ask us or tell us. I'm just watching here on my screen like normal, and all of a sudden there's me, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, I had no idea. But so while that was exciting, it was also, like we talked about a little earlier, the realization of they know we exist. They see our stuff. There are people that know that I exist. And then you find out in a real way that they have eyes and ears everywhere. Like, depending on how much you're out there and how much you're posting, like, they know you exist. And that was kind of scary, because for copyright reasons, you're like, you could really kind of shut me down if you really wanted to. But we're helping enough that for the people that have been doing it a while, they're kind of leaving us alone.
Right. Yeah, this was kind of right when I saw it. I was very early into like my TikTok career.
You call it a career. It's hard to get used to, but you call it.
It's weird. I only have 500 followers, but
Okay.
I was just trying to crank out some content, see what traction I could get. And I saw that and I was like, you know what? The WWE, they're starting to open up to creators, and it will get to the point. I'm predicting this is that creators are going to be showcased on WWE TV. And I was like, I could go through a table. Why not? I'll go through. I don't care.
Do it.
Yeah.
Teach me. Oh, it's fine. I'll take it just for the sake of it. Like,
Why
yeah.
not? Yeah.
Exactly.
Could you imagine seeing Santi or BDE at a WrestleMania and you're like, oh,
Honestly, I'm surprised they haven't done it with BDE yet, because he has been, I mean, I think he's been to the last however many WrestleManias, and I'm pretty sure works with them in some capacity and vlogs it. I'm surprised they haven't, pulled him out to do something. I think Santi is definitely getting to that point as well, where they could absolutely do that with him as well. The crazy thing too with the being showcased on Raw was also CM Punk reposted my reaction from Instagram onto his story, which was also insanity and brought in a ton of insanity, and was just another, okay, people are seeing this. This is terrifying.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Like we've been saying, is that, yeah, there's definitely someone that works for WWE that looks at clips, looks at all these live streams, and they just like, you know what, this could be a good compilation to post on Raw. What is your end goal for YouTube? Do you have an end goal in mind?
I try to keep it open-ended. Like, I have not small goals, but I mean, I have numerical goals. Like, I'd love to hit, the 100,000 follower or subscriber mark by the end of the year. I'd like to be able to average, 10,000 views per video. I'd like to be on a more consistent schedule of releasing at least 1 to 2 videos a week and having a variety of content. It's a double-edged sword, because part of you is like, I'd love to work with a wrestling company. I'd like to work with a wrestling company in some capacity. But in doing that, you can kind of give up some of your freedom depending on what you're doing. You still have to really keep your own brand identity on top of working with and for someone else. So I mean, I would say, yeah, if I had like a big goal with my YouTube, it would be to work with I'd say the WWE, but I would be willing to work with AEW, I'd be willing to work with TNA, I'd be willing to work with GCW. Anyone that would be willing to have me help in some capacity, I'd be willing to.
What could you see yourself doing for any one of these companies?
I see, and I've never seen myself as an interviewer. Like I've never seen myself as an interviewer. I could, but I really like the idea of being able to go to events and vlog style showcasing, you know, what people are doing, or being able to talk to talent, you know, in a very casual vlog style kind of way, conventions that they do, meet and greets that they do, things like that.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. I feel like it's inevitable that one day any one of these companies will reach out to some of us, and yeah, let's work. let's start to market.
Yeah.
Moving over to your podcast, Shooting the Wheeze. You had a deep discussion with Minnie. You brought her up earlier about being a content creator who is a female in the wrestling space. My goodness, I can't even imagine. I'm sure you got in the odd DM or two. What is it like? What's it like being a female in this male dominant industry?
It's such a broad range of experiences. It's such a broad range of experiences because for the most part, most of my interactions are very positive. I feel like I've made really, really good interactions with people. And I think I'm a very positive person, and I attract that kind of positivity. I also don't really put up with bullshit. So, I mean, if someone starts perpetuating negativity, I try not to pay it attention, block, delete. My moderators in my chats are also very good at that. Like they are to a T. Like if someone starts popping off, they're immediately gone. Like I don't need, like I would rather have quality viewership than just numbers of viewership, because then it makes it a place where people don't want to hang out. I've had so many people, like regulars, come into my chats and say, oh, well, I went over to so-and-so's stream, or I went over to so-and-so's chat, and they were like, I did not feel safe there. And it's usually women. It's usually women that are like, I do not feel safe there, because what's happening is the minute that they're watching the show and the women come on stream, sorry, not on stream, but they come on the screen, the chat is immediately sexualizing the women that are in the ring. And we really don't, like, I don't enjoy that at all. That's not what I'm here to watch. It's a very uncomfortable experience. We do, I feel like, we're put in positions where we're felt like we have to prove ourselves more than other wrestling fans too. Because me and Minnie, especially, we're both attractive females, and you know, we're both busy people. And it's a constant, oh, well, do you know this? Like, don't you know this? Or did you, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's almost like a constant test. Like, oh, she's not actually a fan. She's just doing this for the numbers. She's just doing this to make money. And it's like, one, you don't really make that much money. Two, why, of all fandoms, would I interact with the wrestling one? Why would I pick something else? Like, it doesn't, if you're in the wrestling space, it's because you love it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think as of recent, definitely the women's wrestlers in WWE have been killing it. It's one of my favorite parts of the show, just simply because when they're actually given a real story, it's like, holy moly, like Liv versus Rhea. If they tell that story correctly, I know this is kind of a hot take. If they tell that story correctly, it could main event WrestleMania Night 1 next year.
I'm right there with you. And I got a lot of shit for saying that. I feel like the way that they're approaching it right now is the way to do it. You know, people were so mad. They're like, oh, Becky Hogan has the title right now. And it's like, okay. And I really did. I'll stop my chat and be like, listen right now. Imagine that Liv Morgan has that title right now. Then what?
Yeah, nothing.
You got Rhea Ripley coming back. I wholeheartedly think Rhea is going to take that title back when she gets here, and then it'd be all for nothing. I would rather do the long-term version of letting Liv build, do her little tour, wait till Rhea gets that title back, and then run it. Let her build more. We really need to get people actually behind Liv, because they turn on her so quickly, and it makes me so angry. Like, you act like you're behind her, and then she's there, and then you're like, oh, this was rushed, this was boring. It's like, but you wanted that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's kind of the same thing for the men as well. Like if you think about Cody last year at 39, I was there. I wanted him to win. Oh, that was the worst decision they've ever made. And
Yeah.
if you think about it, yeah, like the opponents that Cody had going into the summer, it was clear that they were written as if he was going to win the belt. Like Brock Lesnar, it wasn't. I don't think it was just going to be just a test of strength feud. It's a hot take, whatever. But exact same thing with Liv here. Like she'll probably enter the Queen of the Ring. She may lose. There's a little bit of adversity there. She may get passed up for opportunities.
Right.
But then what if she wins the Royal Rumble in 2025? Then everyone that's going to be like, everyone now that's crapping on it is going to say, no, that was the best decision that they've ever made.
It just takes the time to get there. We have to deal with the impatience until we get that actual payoff,
And I think, I'm assuming that you're a longtime wrestling fan. Do you think there's a little bit of a trust issue with the newer administration rather than the older one? Because Vince, he used to introduce stories and then they would just randomly go away. Like there would be no payoff. But now with Triple H, yeah, there's a year-long payoff. You just got to wait for it.
Yeah, I do think there is that level of trust because I've actually seen people say it, and it's like a it's like a PTSD syndrome of, oh, well, I remember, they were really, building my favorite person and then they just stopped or they just decided they didn't want to do it anymore. And that is true. So there is that fear, I think, of things like that happening. But I think you just need to hang on right now. I think if you are listening to what anyone is saying, or even the way that the shows are running and the promos that people are cutting and the way that things are being done, there is an obvious difference. So maybe have a little bit more trust in what they're doing. Try. I'll be wrong if I'm wrong, but so far I'm really happy with the way that most everything is going.
Yeah. And then also the women's tag division. I know that there's a huge conversation about just removing the belts, but I also made a video on a women's mid-card title, which is awesome. I'm really excited if they're going to introduce that. What do you think a women's mid-card title would do for that division?
It would introduce more opportunities. I believe I actually maybe it was a year or two ago, I actually was pretty vocal about, because they really wanted, there were a lot of people talking about introducing a mid-card title at that time. And I held very strongly at that time, no, because I think if you need to introduce a title in order to tell women's stories correctly, you're a shitty storyteller. You shouldn't need a title in order to tell a story, right? Like you should just be able to do it without one. Now that they're better with that and there is more webs being weaved between the women and their stories, I think now would be a good time. But they have to be able to give them their time and showcase them correctly within the show. I would hate for them to take on too much and then have to rush through things in the course of a show, because we do have a lot going on.
Yeah, like my biggest, I think when that conversation really started picking up for me was last year at some point, Michin faced Io Sky for the title, for the undisputed women's title. And I was thinking, like, why Michin? Like, I get it. Like, they're trying to introduce a little bit of story. They're trying to give her some screen time. I get it. Then I started watching that match, and I'm like, wait, Michin's actually really good.
She's great. She's great.
Yeah, she's awesome. But I felt like if there was a women's mid-card title, then if Michin won it, then she would be deserving of a title shot. And it's just kind of this weird mid-card thing where if you're a challenger, what do you do if you lose to the champion? You go to the tag division, you pray that WWE puts you in a story, like.
Yeah, and that was, that this whole run with, I love Io Sky. I feel like she deserves so much more than she was given, because she's an amazing talent. She's so very gifted, but they don't feel like they really showcased her enough as champion too. So any kind of, feud or match that she did just kind of, I don't know, it kind of fell by the wayside, which is so unfortunate. And I would hate for that to happen with a mid-card title too. If they don't know how to properly showcase them, that is a possibility. So I worry. But again, I'm going to put trust and faith in them, because I feel like right now they're doing a very good job with every, title that is on someone.
And I feel like that's why they haven't introduced it just yet, because Triple H is way of thinking, at least from what I've seen, is very slow. It's
Mhm.
very just like, let's draw it out. Let's wait. Like even for the World Heavyweight Championship, the one that Seth had,
Yeah.
it was like, we need to introduce a second belt. Okay. It was Clash of the Castle 2022 that idea started to really circulate, and it didn't get introduced until Night of Champions the
Yeah.
following year. So
Yeah.
it's very, very slow how he thinks. We might see it by the end of the year. We might see it by after Mania season next year if they actually do want to end up doing it. So we got to wait
I
a little
would
bit.
I would honestly probably think that maybe they're going to hold off on a lot of things until the Netflix deal goes into
Yeah.
place, and then maybe they might start introducing stuff like that because of the deal. So we will have a good year of just kind of, okay, we're getting to this next point. We're in the beginning, of a new, build to WrestleMania. So
Right.
I think people kind of forget that, okay, well, we just had WrestleMania. Now we're kind of like, starting here, and then we're gonna keep our build going until we get to,
Yeah.
SummerSlam Plateau, and then we'll keep building.
Right. Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah. Let's hope. If there are any females that are watching, women that are watching, and they want to get into content creation and they're scared, what's one piece of advice that you have for them?
You have to be, I won't lie, you have to be confident and comfortable with yourself in order to be on the internet in general. And that's not just for women. That's for anyone in general. You have to have a thick skin to a point, and if you don't have one, you need to learn to build one up. You have to know that the internet is not real, and anything that you put out there is, you need to look at it as just this is what I want to do. You can't be making stuff for other people. It has to be something that you enjoy and what you're enjoying. It's easy to say, oh, just ignore the negative comments, just ignore the negative comments, but protect your peace. Like, you have to have thick skin. You have to ignore that kind of thing. And I try not to overcomplicate it when it comes to creating content. You just have to have an idea, and you have to put it out there, and you have to be willing to put it out there, and you can't make excuses, and you can't be like, oh, well, I don't want someone to think this, or I don't want someone to say this. Like, doesn't matter. Like, if the minute that you start thinking about what other people are going to say or doing, you've already lost. Like, you just have to do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. Like even myself, I've gotten a couple of comments on some of my shorts. There was, we have Santi at home, and it's me. I've gotten, stop trying to be Santi. Why are you got to be original.
Oh, welcome to my life.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard you say that on your latest podcast episode, and I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a thing. And comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is
Right.
absolutely the thief of joy. And I think Sanchi said this to you himself. He said it to multiple people himself. Like, this space is growing, and it's so large, and there is space for everybody.
Mhm.
I think for the most part, most people have a unique way of doing things, and people gravitate to them for certain things. And there will be those people that make comparisons. I don't know why there is such a tribalistic view like that, because a lot of the time viewers will try to pin other creators against each other, and it's the weirdest shit, and I don't know why they do it, but they do it. It's just like the AEW versus WWE mentality. Let's pin them against each other. But what they don't know is the people that are at the top are not in competition with each other. They're actually working with each other, and they're supporting each other. And at this stage, a lot of us are trying to help other people get into it more. So they're like, the viewers are the ones that actually don't know what the hell is going on, because most of us have helped each other out in ways that I can't even, begin to give gratitude for, like a lot of them. So
yeah. Like, you didn't have to do this with me. I'm only 900 subs. You're at 20,000. Same thing with Santi. I have an interview coming up, and he's also, a little bigger. And I'm like, man, these guys they're just so open to doing things with smaller creators.
We've been there.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we've been there. We've known, like, and that's the thing is, it's kind of, I was just talking about this with the last interview I did a little bit ago. Paying it forward is such a huge thing. There's a page, his name, he might be watching, he might not, he said he was going to, but his name is Justin from the Wrestling Classic. And he started doing this in like 2014 and evolved and learned the ins and outs, and is so willing to pay it forward to other people that when you receive that kind of kindness, you want to give it back to other people. Because like I said, this isn't a competition. There is space for everyone. There is not a single person out there that only watches one source of anything. There's so much to watch. Like, does anyone only watch one YouTube channel? Does everyone only watch one TV station? Does everyone only watch one football game? No, like there's so much room for everything. The WWE YouTube page has over 100 million viewers. There's a lot of people that watch wrestling, and there's a lot of people that want to watch other people enjoy the thing that they like and make it feel personable. So phooey on tribalism, phooey on any of that. I love everybody. So
right. Yeah, you know what? And there's also those fans like myself. Like I watch AEW if it's good. If it's not good, I don't watch it. I'm a WWE shill at heart, and
shill.
Yeah, I'm a mark.
Yeah, and it's what I've built, you know, it's what I have, it's what fits into my schedule the best. Like, I have Mondays off. I'm not tired on Mondays, so I can sit down and watch a 3-hour Raw. I get off work at 4 on Fridays, so I can sit down and watch SmackDown. Wednesday, I work 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. I am not coming home and sitting down and turning on my camera to watch AEW. I will turn it on like while I'm making dinner, or if I'm laying in bed, or I'll watch minis clips to catch up on it, or their YouTube clips, but that's kind of what I can commit to, you know.
Right.
You have to balance what works for you and what you're able to take on.
Right. Just kind of wrap this up here. What is one thing that wrestling has done in your life?
Oh gosh. One thing that wrestling has done in my life, I mean, it just opened up, it's given me the opportunity to live a dream, I guess, is the best way to put it. When I was in high school and college, I wanted to be a YouTuber so badly. I always wanted to be an on-camera personality in some capacity, but in my neck of the woods and in talking to my family and our financial situation, like, pursuing dreams was not a reality. Like, you needed to do this, you need to do this, and you need to start making income, because dreams don't actually happen. You need to live in the real world. So I never pursued anything that I actually wanted to. And now here I am, almost 32 years old, talking to a camera for a living and getting to travel and meet people that are actually doing the damn thing, and having people say that they enjoy the stuff that I create and that I'm putting my time into. Like, I'm literally on cloud 9. I'm putting so many other things on the back burner because I'm just having the time of my life living in this wrestling space. And that wouldn't be possible without professional wrestling. Like, it's literally changed my life. I'm able to have a second income, and just, I don't know, just it gave me a little bit more of a purpose.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I always love asking people that question, because they always give some awesome answer. So
yeah, well, because when you get, you know, down to the deep nitty gritty of it, like, yeah, it means a lot more than people would expect.
Oh yeah. No, it's awesome. In the chat, we've had a couple of people tuning in and out. Thank you guys for tuning in here. Nicholas asked, we'll get to some fan questions here, what other cons are you going to this year?
This year, I should be at I'll be at WrestleCon for SummerSlam weekend in Cleveland. Plan to be at WrestleCon. There is the Chicago Fan Expo, I believe the end of August. And I believe I am trying to go to that as well. I was going to try to make it to WrestleCade, but I need to chill on my travel right now. It's expensive to get down there and stay and do all that.
Right. Yeah, I'm debating it, because right now I'm in Toronto. So Money in the Bank's coming here. Yeah. Maybe Cleveland I might go, but it's a 5-6 hour drive, but might be worth it. I don't know.
Might be worth it. It might be good. I'm going to be there. It's going to be fun.
There you go. Samuel showing a lot of support.
I know Samuel.
Just asking how your day's going.
I'm having a very busy day, but a good day. It's Sunday. Sam knows that on Sundays I do go out to dinner with my husband. And so we'll be getting ready to go do that here in a little bit.
There you go. All right. Go live life then. Thank you
so much.
Thank you for joining me. This has been awesome.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you guys for watching. And until the next one, until the next interview. Thanks, guys. There we go.